The Gaza Strip, a small territory on the Mediterranean coast, has been trapped in a cycle of violence for decades. The conflict has resulted in immense suffering for both Israelis and Palestinians. Now, a new ceasefire deal offers a glimmer of hope for a more peaceful future. Brokered by international mediators, this agreement represents a fragile opportunity for lasting stability. The deal comes after months of heightened tensions and violence. Rocket attacks from Gaza have targeted Israeli civilians, while Israeli airstrikes have devastated infrastructure and claimed Palestinian lives. The recent escalation has deepened the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The announcement of a ceasefire has been met with cautious optimism. This deal carries the weight of international pressure and a shared understanding that the status quo is unsustainable. The international community has urged both sides to seize this opportunity for a just and lasting resolution. The road ahead will be fraught with challenges. Deep mistrust and political complexities cast a long shadow over the prospects for peace. Yet, the ceasefire offers a glimmer of hope for a better future for all. The ceasefire agreement, while complex, hinges on a series of phased steps designed to build confidence and address the most pressing issues. At its core, the deal aims to achieve a complete and permanent cessation of hostilities between Israel and Hamas, the militant group that controls Gaza. The agreement, mediated by Qatar, calls for an immediate end to all rocket fire and airstrikes. This cessation of violence is intended to create a conducive environment for dialogue and negotiations on the more intractable issues that fuel the conflict. A key provision of the deal is the reopening of border crossings between Israel and Gaza. These crossings, tightly controlled by Israel, are a lifeline for the impoverished territory, facilitating the flow of essential goods, humanitarian aid, and people. The reopening of the crossings is crucial for addressing the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza and for reviving its crippled economy. The deal also includes provisions for addressing the issue of Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails. The release of prisoners is a highly sensitive issue for both sides, with deep emotional and political resonance. While the specifics of the prisoner exchange remain unclear, it is likely to be a phased process, with the release of certain categories of prisoners, such as women, children, and the elderly, taking precedence. The initial phase of the ceasefire agreement focuses on immediate confidence-building measures, primarily the release of captives and the delivery of humanitarian aid to Gaza. These steps are crucial for alleviating the suffering of the civilian population and for creating a more conducive environment for further negotiations. The agreement stipulates the release of Israeli captives held by Hamas, including soldiers and civilians. The return of these captives is a highly emotive issue in Israel, and their release is seen as a priority for the Israeli government. In exchange, Israel is expected to release a number of Palestinian prisoners, including those arrested during the recent escalation. Simultaneously, the deal facilitates the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza. The territory, under a protracted blockade, faces a dire humanitarian crisis, with shortages of essential goods, medicine, and fuel. The agreement calls for the unimpeded flow of aid through designated border crossings, allowing international organizations to provide much-needed assistance to the beleaguered population. The success of this initial phase hinges on the commitment of both sides to uphold their end of the bargain. Any delay or breach of trust could derail the fragile ceasefire and plunge the region back into violence. The international community, particularly the mediators who brokered the deal, will play a crucial role in monitoring the implementation of these initial steps and ensuring that both sides adhere to their commitments. Beyond the ceasefire, the agreement addresses deeper issues of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. These include the status of Jerusalem, the right of return for Palestinian refugees, and the future of Israeli settlements. The ceasefire calls for indirect talks mediated by Egypt. Successful talks could lead to a comprehensive agreement. However, deep mistrust and divergent positions remain. Section 5, the final hurdle: Reconstruction and Reconciliation. The final stage of the ceasefire agreement, if reached, envisions a future where Gaza is no longer a besieged enclave, but a thriving part of a future Palestinian state. This vision hinges on the successful implementation of a massive reconstruction effort and a genuine process of reconciliation between the different Palestinian factions. The international community has pledged billions of dollars in aid to rebuild Gaza's shattered infrastructure. Hospitals, schools, water treatment plants, and power grids lie in ruins, testament to the devastating impact of the conflict. The reconstruction effort will require not only financial resources but also technical expertise and a commitment to transparency and accountability to ensure that the aid reaches those who need it most. Beyond the physical rebuilding, there is a pressing need for reconciliation and unity among the Palestinian people. The political divide between Fatah, the party that controls the West Bank, and Hamas, which governs Gaza, has deepened in recent years, hindering efforts to present a united front in negotiations with Israel. A lasting peace will require bridging this internal divide and forging a common vision for the future. The road to achieving this vision will be long and arduous. Deep mistrust, political complexities, and the scars of decades of conflict will continue to pose significant challenges. Success will require not only the commitment of Israelis and Palestinians but also the sustained support and engagement of the international community. Section 6. Roadblocks on the path to peace. While the ceasefire agreement offers a glimmer of hope, the path to a lasting peace remains fraught with obstacles. Deep-seated mistrust, political complexities, and the weight of history cast a long shadow over the prospects for a sustainable resolution. One of the most significant roadblocks is the lack of trust between the parties involved. Decades of conflict, broken promises, and missed opportunities have created a climate of suspicion and animosity. Overcoming this mistrust will require both sides to demonstrate a genuine commitment to peace through concrete actions and a willingness to compromise. Another challenge is the complexity of the issues at stake. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is not merely a territorial dispute, it is a clash of narratives, identities, and aspirations. Resolving these fundamental issues will require creativity, flexibility, and a willingness to move beyond entrenched positions. The role of external actors also adds another layer of complexity. The international community, while generally supportive of a two-state solution, is not a monolithic entity. Different countries and organizations have varying interests and levels of influence, which can sometimes complicate rather than facilitate the peace process. Section 7. A fragile hope for Israelis. For Israelis, the ceasefire represents a tentative step away from the precipice of another devastating conflict. The recent escalation has brought rocket fire into the heart of Israeli cities, shattering a sense of security and normalcy. The ceasefire offers a respite from the fear and uncertainty, but it also underscores the fragility of the status quo. The agreement has sparked debate within Israeli society, reflecting the deep divisions over how to achieve lasting peace and security. Some view the ceasefire as a necessary step to prevent further bloodshed and create the space for dialogue. Others view it as a missed opportunity to deliver a decisive blow to Hamas and deter future attacks. The ceasefire also raises questions about the long-term viability of the current situation. The underlying issues that fuel the conflict, including the status of Jerusalem, the right of return for Palestinian refugees, and the future of Israeli settlements, remain unresolved. Without addressing these fundamental issues, the cycle of violence is likely to continue. Section 8. A chance for Gaza to breathe again. For the people of Gaza, the ceasefire offers a much-needed reprieve from the relentless cycle of violence and deprivation. The recent escalation has exacerbated an already dire humanitarian crisis, leaving thousands homeless, injured, and traumatized. The ceasefire provides a window of opportunity to address the urgent needs of the population and begin the long process of rebuilding. The reopening of border crossings will allow for the flow of essential goods, medicine, and construction materials into Gaza. International aid organizations will be able to scale up their operations, providing food, water, shelter, and medical care to those in need. The ceasefire also raises hopes for the revival of Gaza's shattered economy, which has been crippled by years of blockade and conflict. However, the scars of the recent conflict run deep. The trauma of losing loved ones, homes, and livelihoods will take years to heal. The ceasefire, while providing a respite from violence, does not erase the underlying causes of the conflict or guarantee a better future. Section 9. A shared future. The Gaza ceasefire agreement, while fragile, represents a crucial opportunity to break the cycle of violence and work towards a more peaceful future. The road ahead will be long and arduous, requiring difficult choices, compromises, and a genuine commitment to peace from all sides. The international community has a vital role to play in supporting the ceasefire, facilitating dialogue, and providing humanitarian assistance. However, ultimately, the success of this endeavor rests on the shoulders of Israelis and Palestinians themselves. The path to peace will require not only political solutions, but also a fundamental shift in attitudes and perceptions. It will require breaking down the walls of mistrust, embracing empathy and understanding, and recognizing the shared humanity that binds us together. Only then can we hope to build a future where Israelis and Palestinians can coexist in peace, security, and dignity.
So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and let's turn the page on a new adventure together. Get ready to experience books like never before, only on VBook 360. Like, comment, and share to support the channel and keep the video magic alive. Thank you for stopping by. And remember, every video has a story, and every story deserves to be shared. See you in the next video.